Think traveling during school vacations and holidays is impossibly expensive? It can be the busiest time to travel, so you're stuck, right? Not necessarily. We almost exclusively travel at these times during the year and have mastered the art of doing it on the cheap. Today we share our top 5 tips for traveling on a budget during school vacations and holidays.
Welcome to the Travel More podcast.
Each episode, we share custom itineraries, travel hacks, expert advice, and even stories of our past travel failures to help you level up your travel game.
I'm Shelly, a lover of plans, itineraries, and cheap flights. I'm an expert deal finder with one eye always on the budget.
And I'm Bruce, the improviser, ready to pick up where plans fail to turn letdowns into unexpected trip favorites. We're here to bust through barriers that stop you from making your travel dreams a reality.
So book that flight, buy the tickets, and say hello to your next adventure.
This is the Travel More Podcast.
Welcome back to the Travel More Podcast.
Welcome. Burning the midnight oil.
We are, and we're not a week late this time.
No. Well, hopefully, by the time this
Yeah,
comes
hopefully.
out, it's the normal time.
Despite the many things of the beginning of the school year. So
We're getting back. We're getting on. We're doing it.
we're doing it. We're here. We're
Yeah.
here. And it's a quick one. A quick
Yeah.
5 tips.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is probably the question I get asked the most, or I see the most, like, back and forth about, like, on, like, social media. Because people will, like, take their kids out of school a lot. And then some people are really, like, okay with that, and some people are really not okay with it. And they're like,
Right.
well, I can't, like, I can't afford to travel during school breaks. And it's like, I bet you could. You know what I mean? Like, because we do.
Yeah, exactly. We do.
Right.
And I think, the first tip's definitely going to be the biggest reason why,
Yeah.
which is we plan.
Right.
But to be fair, I don't think it's, some people I think are just like, oh my God, I would never want to travel during holidays or
Yeah.
all the traditional school breaks is when everybody's doing everything.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I don't know. I just think there's so much you can still do and it's not going to be a big problem.
Yeah.
You don't need to be somebody who finds a way to travel in September when nobody else does. Because honestly, there's not that the people who are doing that. You're retired or you have a very different career that opens you up for that, or you don't have kids, and I think that's not a lot of people.
Yeah, I get it. Like, I absolutely get traveling on shoulder season and things like that. But I will say there are pros and cons to everything.
Yes.
It's not that traveling on shoulder season is a 100% pro in every category.
Yeah, right.
And a lot of places, like, we go, because we live in the Northeast, and so it's easy to go around, and we've gone quite a few times in the off season to Cape Cod. And while we love it, it is not the same as going in the summer.
It's
Like,
shuttered. Everything's closed.
Lots of things. Like, I feel like we couldn't even find dinner one time. We were
No.
like, man, everything is freaking closed.
And that's a good point. Actually considering both angles of that is like some places are truly seasonal and you're going to want to go when other people go because that's when things are happening.
Right.
On the flip side, you might want to visit a place when it's not as well frequented for a different style of trip, but be
Yeah.
prepared for what
Yeah.
that means.
Right, exactly.
So-
yeah, and it's not like we went in the middle of January. We went during spring break.
Right. So I think there are some destinations that maybe if you can make it work, going in a certain off season is really nice.
Yeah.
But it's not a guaranteed like this place will always be better in the not busy time.
Right,
And
because I feel like a lot of people talk about that.
yeah, that's
Like, they're always like, travel and shoulder season. And while there are a lot of pros to that, there are things that are going to be different. There's a reason people go, for example, to Cape Cod in this summer, and it's not a spring break destination.
Right.
It's cold.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, the water is frigid. Like, it's just not a beach destination
No.
for spring break. And so I think that that's like where a lot of people kind of go, not wrong, but a lot of people kind of oversell shoulder season. So let's talk, and we're talking all school breaks, which then also kind of fall into holiday season, right?
Yeah.
So
high seasons typically.
so this is not only how to travel in like school breaks if you have kids, but also how to travel on holidays if that's where a lot of your PTO comes from, or you could put a couple of extra days and end up with like a 10-day PTO as opposed to having to use 10 days of PTO,
Yep.
which is how a lot of people maximize their vacation time.
Right. So we've got 5 tips, and I already brought up one, which is obvious, but honestly, people just don't do this, and it really makes a difference. You have to plan ahead. And it's funny, we're entering holiday season right now, so I'm telling you, it's like you should listen to this, I don't know, in January for next year.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what we're getting at. You really just need to have your ducks in a row.
Well, actually, can I comment on that? So funny you're saying this, because what did I do? Was it yesterday? It was either yesterday or the day before. Is I booked 4th of July.
Right. And I think a lot of people, you know what it's like? I feel like the reason this is so hard to do is because if you are buying like shorts and t-shirts and bathing suits in December, when you're not thinking about it, but they're nobody, might be on sale. Right. You have to try to become someone like that a little bit, or like buy your Halloween candy on November 1st kind of person in a way. Maybe not exactly right. Maybe not. That's not right. But the idea is you really have to be thinking out of the season that you're in.
Right. You have to kind of always be thinking ahead. Like, I mean, right now we're on the cusp of October. We have trips planned for December that, I don't know, we planned months ago. I have all of our spring break already like booked, and I have now the majority of at least the beginning of the summer booked. And we were just talking about what we're going to do at the end of the summer, like in August. That'll probably be booked in the next couple weeks, honestly.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is like, you got to book ahead. And not that there aren't last minute deals on things. That does exist, but that's not what I would bank on. If you already know that like that is your time and it's limited and you want to travel during that time, that is not the time to wait for deals.
No.
The time to get those kind of deals is like they come up and you look at your schedule and you go, wait, I could take a week off then.
Right.
That's when you do those kind of deals. Not like, I have the summer, I hope something comes, like while I'm in the summer. That's not how that goes.
You want time flexibility.
Right.
For random last minute deals.
Yes, and here's the biggest thing, I think. It's not even that you're going to find, deals like for a very specific hotel is going to be 50% off if you book 6 months ahead, 9 months ahead, whatever. It's not that. It's the fact that you'll have all of these choices. Where as it gets closer and closer and closer, you're only going to have very specific choices, and those could be very expensive choices. So it's not just the getting there. Plane tickets can be cheaper, either very close to the date or very far out, kind of depending on why you're booking or how you're booking. But the accommodations and things you're going to do, you're going to get a much like closed off choice list. That's
you're either getting you're either getting like the bottom of the barrel, or you're overpaying for the medium to maybe higher end.
This happens to us literally every single year with our family vacation.
Well, recently, because we've been trying to establish a seasonal trip, which is the worst thing to leave to like even a couple months before.
Right.
Because people who typically go and they rent rentals for families, especially beaches, lakes, mountains, whatever.
They go every year to the same place.
Yeah, they get bought up. So if you want to get competitive with like the nicely priced gems of an accommodation, you got to be looking like, I want to say 9 months,
I was gonna
if
say
not
some
more.
time. Yeah. So yes, planning ahead, having those options, like I said, my 4th of July isn't even anything fancy, but I was able to book a Hyatt for like 8,000 points a night, where I guarantee you that will be booked up probably by Christmas. And then you're only going to have the options of like 30, 40,000 points per night Hyatt.
Yep. Well, that just happened because we bought, what is it? The 2 days after Christmas or day after Christmas in New York,
yes.
just by the airport in JFK, because we were having an early flight. And I was looking again to figure out what we want to do for parking. And I saw the Marriott that we got for like 10,000 points is now at least 40,000 a night or something like that.
It was probably like 25,000.
Marriotts
are even ever 10,000.
You know what I mean?
Marriotts are terrible. But yes, no, I do know what you mean.
The point
because
is,
what was now available were like suites.
Yeah.
And it's like, we don't even need a suite, but that's not the point. The point is all the good stuff is booked already. Not the good stuff, the cheap stuff.
The cheap stuff.
So that's the option. Anyways, moving on to our second tip, which we have said probably, I don't know, 100 times on this podcast, but it's worth repeating every single time, is to be flexible with timing or destination. So if you have a whole summer to work with, like, your kids are going to be off and you could take PTO anytime, or you're like us where you work for a school or some sort of seasonal work where you have a chunk off, then you can be a little more like stuck with your destination. You're still not going to get the best deals if you do it like that. But I do understand that some people are really set on visiting certain places.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have, a whole summer to work with, you can be a little more flexible. Or you can be a little more like, I want to go here, because you can be flexible with your dates.
Right.
But the best deals are always going to come from if you are flexible with your dates and location. So if you know your dates have to be in the summer, that's a little flexible, but it's not like as flexible as any time. So if it were me, I would kind of just keep all of the things open and see what kind of deals come to me.
Well, and that's especially true if you're only looking at like a week during the year, like a spring break, a Christmas time,
Yes,
Thanksgiving.
absolutely.
You don't want to get stuck on a destination.
No.
For the best deal.
Yeah.
We're talking about like, if you want to pay whatever you want, fine.
Yeah,
but that's
right.
not what we're talking about.
Yeah,
like,
we won't be judging over here.
No, but you
Spend
gotta
your
let
money.
that's the key to that, right? Is like, if you want to be using that time to travel, you need to think flexibly about where you're going.
Yeah. So like our trips, we travel quite often on pretty much every school break. So we go every spring break, we go somewhere. Every Christmas break, we go somewhere. Obviously in the summer, we even take advantages of things like Martin Luther King Day or like Columbus Day, like all those 3-day weekends. But our December break is always the one I feel like that is the most open-ended. Like have we ever been like, we're going to go here for Christmas?
I don't think we
think so.
ever, nah, because I think especially a time like that.
It's just so inflexible in timing because we only have that week. And then it's such an expensive time to travel that it's like, if we're going to go anywhere, we got to be ready to just go wherever.
Yep.
And it's worked out really well for us. When we got that round trip flight to Paris for $350, I mean, who wouldn't want to spend Christmas in Paris? And then the next year, $420 to Portugal. We ended up spending New Year's Eve in Munich that time, which was really cool. Kind of hidden bonus. So there's a lot of cool stuff. This year we're going to Panama, and we paid in points this time, and we paid like, I think it was $57,000 round trip.
Yeah.
Which never happens. Round trip business class. So, we just kind of wait to see what happens. And that you can do it one of two ways. Either you can wait for things like transfer bonuses or like what I just said, where you find a good points deal and you jump on that, or you sign up for things like Scotch Cheap Flights now going, and wait for those kind of like cash deals to come in. The two that I mentioned before were both through going cash deals, and then this other one was through a thing called Point Hound, and that was a flight alert, but for points specifically. So yeah, just wait for those kind of things.
And some of those destinations you brought up make me think of our third tip, which is to go the opposite direction of where most people might go. And I think Christmas time for us, we've definitely made that choice.
Yeah.
I mean, like, even Panama is not top of the charts for most people, although it is warm.
Yeah.
So you think maybe sometimes at Christmas people will often go somewhere that it's more like beachy.
Yeah,
but not always. I think it depends, maybe.
I know, I was going to say, I don't know. I think for Christmas, people, maybe I'm totally off on this, but in my head, I think people either like don't travel, like it's more of like a family time, or they do things like they go to Europe for the Christmas market. I know that's not like literally Christmas week. Yeah. That's what we're talking about. But I just like, I guess I don't think of a beach vacation as a Christmas vacation.
Yeah, maybe not. I guess it depends, because I feel like you're right. One, a lot of people travel to see family.
Yeah.
So that is their travel, or they stay put.
Which we have a thing for that in a second, but yes, keep going.
But I guess I think the people who do travel at that time of year, because it's so dark and starting to be cold, especially where we live, they often will do like I don't know, they might choose something that's like a cruise. And also Europe, I know Christmas markets a lot of times are done by then.
They are, yeah.
Depending on where you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, my point is, it doesn't really matter. Like, the idea is that even if it's not Christmas time, you're just thinking about, if there's a popular thing that happens in that season, maybe doing something that's not, like, kind of the opposite.
Well, I mean, like we just said for Cape Cod, like spring break is not Cape Cod season. It is not the same experience you're going to get going in the summer. So you do have to consider that. Like, going to Cape Cod and for spring break is not at all going to be the experience you would get in the summer. But it is still kind of a fun vibe. Like, it feels very like, I don't know, like it's a cold beach. It's very cozy. There are still places that are open. You just have to find them, but they're usually like more local places. They're not as overpriced. You're gonna get better deals on hotels. You know what I mean? Like there are some things to be said for going in the off season. It just you have to know that your experience might not be the same.
But it might be worth it.
It might be worth it.
Because
100%.
you could save the money. You might have a different experience that's worth it. But if you don't, I guess if
I'm not like a beach person. So for me, Cape Cod and spring break was awesome.
Oh, it was.
I loved it.
I think because the vibe
That's
too.
what I mean.
I mean, it's
so
not.
It depends on like what vibe you're looking for.
Yeah.
And are you willing, or you just consider is all I'm saying. Like you can't just think like, oh, spring break, everyone's going warm. I'm going to Canada, and then be like, oh, but things are closed. You know what I mean? Like you
have to be prepared for it.
Yes,
That's
yes, you have to be prepared for it.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Well, speaking of flying to family, I'm gonna skip down a couple.
We'll make this our number 4 then.
Yeah, we'll switch these up because I think that was a good lead
Segue.
in. Yeah. So another thing is if you are going to visit family or you just need to fly on the holidays, and we do this a lot as well, is fly on the holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Either fly a week before the holiday or fly on the holiday.
Mm-hmm.
So like when my dad comes to visit, he always flies a week before Thanksgiving, and then we find great deals like the whole weekend before, because usually people can't do that.
and nobody's doing it.
Yeah. And then when we fly for Christmas, almost exclusively when we fly for Christmas, we fly out on Christmas Day and fly back on New Year's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost every single year to the hour, I feel like. So it's like Christmas night. So we do the whole Christmas morning thing. We go to family, for the lunch and the 2 p.m. dinner, Christmas. And then at like 8 p.m. we fly out. So I think that, well, I don't think, like that is absolutely how you get the best deals in terms of like holiday pricing.
Yeah, that's a tip I can't overemphasize, is trying to travel outside of the highest peak time, and that's
like
typically
2 or 3 days before.
Yeah, right before the event, because everyone wants to be where they're going.
Yeah.
So, but for us, we're typically where we want to be for the holiday, and then right on it or after it, it's a perfect time to go.
Right. Yeah. So if you are someone who like really wants to travel at that time and you're like, but everything's so expensive, try traveling or try putting it in for the actual holiday.
Mm-hmm.
That'll help you a lot. And then last but not least, we have a whole episode on this, but I think it's worth mentioning here too, which is to think outside the box for your accommodations.
Yeah, because accommodations really are, like Shelley said, probably going to be the thing that get the most expensive, especially the closer you get, and that's why you want to plan ahead of time. But in general, even if you are planning ahead of time and it's a peak season, I'm thinking of like, we were looking at London, and like the UK in general could get really expensive. Like we were looking at Scotland in the summer, and there's just like no cheap accommodation, unless you're looking at something unique like car camping, or we did that Airstream, I'll never forget, in the Everglades.
One of the coolest things.
The coolest place. So I guess like that's why Airbnb can be fun, or VRBO, or any of these kind of like different ways to source, not hotels. You're not using points. Glamping. Yeah.
Renting a camper van. Like there's a lot of like kind of cool things that aren't maybe on your radar, but will give you a similar experience. Like some glamping is like, I mean, there's a bathroom in the accommodation. Like it's not like you have to use an outhouse. Like it's essentially a hotel room, but it's like a standalone in like a dome or something. Like
that's like I know. Speaking of Cape Cod, I think they just built a place like that.
Yeah. So here's the only thing they did, and it looks freaking awesome. Like
still really expensive.
Yeah.
Never
so,
mind.
But no. But it does look very cool. It's like an Airstream park. So it's kind of like that Airbnb we stayed at, but an actual fancy one.
I remember looking it up. It wasn't as cool as the like farmstead that we stayed at.
It wasn't as cool.
This is like,
but that's mostly because now this is like kind of a hipstery thing. So you do have to be careful because some of these glamping things are getting to be more expensive than the hotel rooms.
They become very trendy.
Yes.
And honestly, I feel like a new rule of thumb is that the more you see something on social media, the worse
more
it
you
will
just
become.
turn around
Because people are doing it just because it's such a hot button thing, and it's not actually that good. Which we learned in our trip to Italy and Florence.
Yeah.
Shelley kind of put together a list of things that she saw on Instagram, and they all kind of were like, wait.
I had too many contact naps with the baby and just like did too much Instagram. And then I remember I did it so early that when we got there, I was like, I don't even remember where I got these things from. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're all from social media. This is why they're all terrible.
Wait, no. The best part is the was it Vivoli? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
The stupid affogato that was like €30. It wasn't that much, but it might as well.
It was good, but it was crazy.
It just made me think of a video I just sent you that was like some guy that's like, remember you have free will, and then he like makes his own affogato. Like, but watching him do like a plastic cup and ice cream and just like an espresso made me think like, why did I spend so much money on this Instagram affogato? My point is,
you blew my mind just a little bit, because I was like, wait a minute, like we could make I could make an avocado.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. You have free will.
With our Nespresso.
Yes. Why are we spending
pumpkin Nespresso?
But this is what I'm trying to explain.
No, I'm understanding your thing. I'm just also having this realization that I could have this for dessert.
It woke me up. I suddenly my eyes were open, and I'm like, what am I doing watching this video and going to Italy to buy an avocado? I have ice cream. I have espresso right here. It's no different. It's not that special. I guess
it gelato?
It's the same thing. I mean, not really.
Oh my gosh.
Listen.
We just got canceled.
No. My point is this. Sometimes things get hyped up so much that you forget how easy. It's like, why are we paying so much for gelato and espresso?
Well, I actually didn't think it was the price. It was like €7 or something. So it wasn't.
I think it was more than that.
I think it was.
Oh, no. I think this pistachio one, the special one, was like €13. And the other one I think was at least 10 for an espresso, a small espresso, Shelly, with a vanilla gelato.
I feel like
you could buy that on every street corner in Italy.
I know. But anyways, it doesn't matter. The point is,
you have free will.
That's
the point.
No. To me, it wasn't the price as much as it was like, I like pride myself in finding these little like mom and pop shops and like this really cool authentic experience. And that is the opposite of what we like stood in this line. There was like a neon sign people were taking pictures by. It was like the entire street block was like people taking videos and pictures for Instagram. Like people Instagramming in the line.
Yeah,
like, it was a whole thing, and I was like, "This is terrible. It's not what I want at all."
Yeah, it was my favorite. One of my favorite things was the local random coffee and pastry place by our Airbnb
that place was
in
so
Sant'Agata, where she was like, we asked, what does she like, and it was just a brioche with like pistachio cream.
I still dream about that.
But it was so good.
It was so good
And so cheap.
Yeah, it was like €2 or something. I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I mean. Is like, it's amazing what you can get caught up on, especially watching people's travel videos, and you forget like the simplicity of things is better. Don't fall into these like
big old traps.
So
I have no idea where that started, but the point is that you should look for fun in the unexpected, like going the opposite direction or finding a cool Airbnb. Plan way, way, way ahead. I know that's gonna, like, for me that's like second nature, but I know that's not everyone's like forte.
That's the practice. That's your discipline. That's like going to the gym, but for traveling. You have to get your steps in. My
adult ADHD coping mechanism is that I set alarms in my phone. So, like, the reason I booked 4th of July is because I set an alarm on my phone for this weekend to be like, look at 4th of July. You know what I mean? Like, look at this hotel. And then I was like, oh, yeah, I was going to look at that. Because if I didn't do that, it would literally be May. And I'd be like, wait, did I ever book that hotel? And the answer would be no. And then we'd be paying 40,000 points a night. So set alarms on your phone for way ahead of when you'd be thinking about it. And then book it then.
So those are your lessons. Set alarms on your phone. Don't overpay for gelato and espresso. Ever.
And fly on holidays.
Yeah. There you go.
That's it.
All right. Thanks for listening.
This episode brought to you by Delirium.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.
See ya.
Did you know that every time you book a Disney or Universal vacation, you're paying for a service that you may not even be using?
Really?
That's right. Travel agent costs are added to your Disney or Universal vacation, whether you use one or not.
So you're telling me that I'm paying for something even though I'm not getting the help?
You got it. So next time you want to book a theme park vacation, make your money work for you. By booking with Magic Pass Travel, you'll get our expertise and years of experience without paying any extra and while supporting a small business.
Check out our show notes to find our contact information.
Can't wait to help you plan your next adventure.